Anyone questioning Jurgen Klopp needs their head checking. The man's been a revelation since he's been at Liverpool Football Club, to my disappointment.
Merseyside Monday tonight, Liverpool take on Everton. Should be an absolutely cracking game. Remember, all the coverage gets underway from 6 o'clock ahead of an 8 o'clock kickoff. And I've been joined by the biggest Everton fan I know, a former WBC Cruiserweight champion, Mr. Tony Bellew, who's been kind enough to let us into his fantastic pad as well. Tony, look, I haven't seen you since Frank Lampard lost his job and Sean Dyche replaced him as Everton manager. A quick word on Frank Lampard and the job that he done at Everton. Unlucky to be sacked, or did you think it was the right time for him to go?
I don't think it matters what us fans think. I just think it's a purely results-driven business. I'll never forget what he achieved with us last season. That Crystal Palace game will stay long in my memory for the rest of my life. I'll never ever forget it. I thought I'd seen it all when I was sitting there against Wimbledon. I thought I'd seen it all once again when we stay up on goal difference against Coventry. But that Wimbledon, that Crystal Palace game, me and Baz were in tears at half time, literally in tears, just looking at each other thinking we're over, it's done. And he galvanised them boys in that dressing room at half time. Literally, I'm not going to lie, I wanted to go. My eldest son talked me into staying. I said, we stay for 20 minutes. I said, and if we get a goal inside them 20 minutes, we've got a chance. I think on the 19th minute into the second half, a goal went in. And the rest is history. I'll never ever forget that moment for as long as I live. So yeah, thank you very much to Frank Lampard for last season.
Indeed. Again, at the end there, you mentioned last season, the start of this season wasn't very good. Prior to the start of the World Cup, it wasn't good. Do you think maybe they should have pulled the trigger a bit earlier, maybe to give Sean Dyche, who's come in and done obviously fantastic work against Arsenal, maybe a bit more time with this Everton squad?
Do you know what, in hindsight, looking back, Ade, everything was okay up until the Bournemouth game, the first cup game. I think we had the third or fourth best defensive Premier League record up until the Bournemouth game, and then for some reason unbeknownst to me, the lads just started leaking and conceding goals left, right and centre. Consistency's been our biggest key. It's been our biggest problem since David Moyes left, if I'm being totally honest. There's been no consistency. It's chopping and changing, whether it's directors of football, whether it's new managers, whether it's a new philosophy, a different idea. It's constant change. You need time for it to bed in. You know, everything went well under David Moyes for a reason, and that was because he was here for a long, long time, and he was able to implement his ways, his strategies, his formulas, whatever you want to dress it up as. He was in control. He was the boss. And we have never been able to recover since David Moyes left, in all total honesty. So I think Sean Dyche is a fit that reminds me very similar to David Moyes, and the way that he implements his style of football. The first thing he demands is hard work, a huge work ethic, which should be standard, but you know, it's not, as we know in this modern day of football. In the modern day of football, a manager no longer is just a football manager. He has to be a psychologist. He has to be an ego therapy masseur. He has to be able to be a father figure to some of these lads, and it's very, very hard for these football managers now. It really, really is, because if you have the wrong word said with one or two, even one sometimes, that can be a dressing room gone. And I've seen this time and time again. And it's unacceptable now. It can't continue to happen at my football club.
Record at Anfield, let's talk about tonight's game. The record at Anfield's not a good one when it comes to Everton, is it? I mean, it's only just the 2 wins in 25 years. You did get a win back in 2021 when Liverpool were on their knees as well, as you smile as I say that. Do you go into this game with more hope now, considering where Liverpool are, but considering Everton coming off that really good win against Arsenal?
I never have any hope going to Anfield. I've had my heart broke too many times. I've witnessed every type of derby you can imagine at Anfield. I've witnessed Jags smashing it into the top bin with literally seconds to go. I've witnessed Steven Gerrard scoring hat-tricks and laughing at us. I've seen every derby. I usually I'm at Anfield all the time. The only time I couldn't get in this time was when Richie goes in slots within the first couple of seconds of the game. So yeah, it's not a nice place for us to go, but it's somewhere where I think backs against the wall. Liverpool are fighting for it, Everton are fighting for it, and these games, it's never about form, it's never about where you're on the league, it's just about who wants it more on the day. Form goes out the window. I've always believed that with derbies, and I think we'll see. I actually anticipate seeing something exciting tonight, which might not bode well for my team, but I think it'll be exciting. One thing about Everton is they'll lock down the hatches. Everton will be hard to beat. Believe you me, there will be no quarter given tonight in any way, shape or form. The lads will be at it from the word go, and you know I expect the result.
What do you make of what's happened at Liverpool? Back end of last season, they were going for the quadruple, right? 2 domestic cups, so it was a good season. Everyone thought, okay, they're going to be the challengers to Man City this season. They sit 10th in the league now. I know you know a lot of the Liverpool players as well. What do you make of what's happened at Anfield this season?
Anyone questioning Jurgen Klopp needs their head checking. The man's been a revelation since he's been at Liverpool Football Club, to my disappointment, I must add. But taking jokes aside, he's an unbelievable manager. The job he has done at Liverpool is nothing short of remarkable. Just look at that squad he had when he walks into Anfield, when he walks into Liverpool, and look at the team he creates and builds. It's frightening. He's the only manager in the world who every time they go into the transfer market, they come out, they go in thinking, what are they going to do, and come out smelling the roses every time it ends. It's just... And I know people will say, oh, the midfield is short, or this is not going right at the moment, that's not going right. I just don't see anything but success under that manager. So the sooner he leaves, the better. No, he's just not. He's a fantastic manager. He's absolutely brilliant. I mean, people talk about the football Pep Guardiola plays, but let's be totally and brutally honest here. He pays for that football. He spends the most money every single time. Whoever he wants, he gets. Jurgen Klopp doesn't have that luxury. He makes a team work. He fits players into a team. He doesn't bow down to what other clubs want for players. He takes his time and he gets his man. Now, people will say, okay, well, he pays for the most expensive defender in the world at the time and he pays for the most expensive goalkeeper in the world at the time, but they were obviously the final pieces of his jigsaw, because look what he went on to do after he gets them too. You know, they start winning crazy amounts of trophies. The European Cup comes back to Anfield and stuff like that. So he's just a fantastic manager, and no one can ever, I mean, if Jurgen Klopp was ever to be sacked, the whole of Liverpool boards club or whatever needs launching, because he is probably, in my eyes, one of the most unsackable managers in world football. I mean, there's very few of that, but him and Guardiola are definitely two of them.
Before Sean Dyche came in, look, if it was still Frank Lampard at the helm, I think a lot of Everton fans and a lot of neutral football fans would have said that Everton are going to go down, right? It looked like it was only one way. With Sean Dyche now there, and we know the miracles he did at Burnley, are you more confident that you will stay up this season?
I believe in his ways. I think, you know, he's got an ethos and a work ethic that screams Everton. And the lads have got to match it every single time. It can't just happen on one-off games like we did against Arsenal. It's got to be consistency. You've got to go out there and show the same mentality against Arsenal. You've got to show it against Liverpool. You've got to show it against the lesser clubs. You've got to go out there and be giving it to Bournemouth, giving it to Leeds. It's no good just turning up against the top teams like Arsenal. Go up and give it to everyone. And that's, as I said, that's been the biggest problem since losing David Moyes. There's no real consistency, and their managers aren't stood by. It's like the revolving door just keeps going, Ade. It's got to stop. And I think they've planned for the worst with this one. So if the worst does come upon us, then you've got a man who's experienced it, got through it and came back. And I don't want to talk and think like that, but I'm a realist, I'm not a fantasist. And Everton Football Club are in trouble at the minute. But I do believe string together 2 or 3 wins and we're well away from it. I mean, I think this might be one of the first seasons where you're going to need more than 40 points.
Yeah.
I just think it's been a long time since you've needed 40 points, but I think you're going to need more than this year, because everyone is taking points off everyone, and it's worrying, mate.
All right, try and remove your Everton cap if you can. I know it's lodged firmly on your head. 2 wins in 25 years at Anfield. What do you think the score is going to be tonight?
I'd take a draw right now, I'm not going to lie. But if anyone can wind up Klopp, as we've seen before, it is the gaffer, Mr. Dyche. So we'll soon find out. You know, there's not long to go now. I'm not sure on Liverpool's if they've got a fully fit squad or not. I mean, is Mo Salah fit? Is Firmino fit? The players who usually haunt us, I'm not sure, because I don't really pay that much attention to Liverpool, as I say. When you ask me about Jurgen Klopp, I obviously know about him because of the fantastic job he's done for a number of years now. But when it comes to the actual staff and the players, I don't really know that much of who's fit and who's not, so you'd be best informing me on that. But
well, I can tell you now, Firmino's out.
Okay.
Thiago's out.
Okay.
Van Dijk is out.
That's good.
Obviously, Luis Diaz isn't there.
Yeah.
Jota's on the bench, potentially.
Why would he be on the bench if there's no Firmino and then there's no...
Yeah, he's come back. He's been training. He's been training for the last couple of weeks, so he looks
on the bench? Why wouldn't he be starting?
Looks like he might start with Gakpo, Darwin Núñez and Salah.
Okay, well, I mean, the Darwin Núñez... Well, I'm not even going to say it now. I'm not even going to say it. I'm like,
You don't know what you mean. You don't want to curse it.
I'm not going to say nothing. Let's just get through tonight. I mean, I just if the lads can show up with the same tenacity we turned up with against Arsenal, be at them from the word go. Because let's be totally honest, this season Arsenal are a better football team than Liverpool. It's just the way it is. And the way we were at Arsenal from the word go was phenomenal. It was fantastic. And we need to be at Liverpool exactly the same tonight. So at them straight away. Don't give them a second to breathe on the ball. And believe you me, the atmosphere in there will be second to none tonight. You know, I will be in there. Full voice, full head. I will have a mask on, but it will be a full voice, and you will hear me. You may not see me, but you will hear me. Up the toffees.
I know your voice. I'll find you. Mask on, no, I'll find you. Cheers, Tony. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Top man.